Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the month of October. I'm Dr. Sims, America's number one personal development expert and host of the Dr. Sims Show. I'm excited about our guest today, and let me say this before we get into the show. Hopefully, we're not going to say anything that's going to be triggering, or we may, because we're going to talk about a very sensitive subject today, and that is domestic violence. And my admonition for people that's in relationships, let's not get physical and then verbal abuse. And we're going to touch on that a little bit because this is part one. And we're going to have part two with our special guest. I've flown her in all the way from Austin, Texas, and by way of California. She's a good friend of mine. Without any further ado, Coach Leslie Sims. Well, good evening, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good. And you? Nice to be here.
It is so good to be here. I am doing fine. It is so good to see you.
You as well. Happy Sunday vibes.
Well, I know, right? I know, right?
Right.
It's so good to see everybody. Listen, I have a list of questions that I have. I surveyed my audience and I asked them some questions that they wanted to ask you. And believe it or not,
Okay.
like the little TikTok we showed at the beginning of the show, there are a lot of women, and there have some instances with men. There are a lot of
Mhm.
women that go through domestic violence. And I was kind of shocked at the statistics, but it's just amazing how many women have been affected by domestic violence.
Yes. And it crosses all economic. It doesn't just have a label to, middle class, poor, rich,
Okay.
whatever. And it's a big hidden thing that people, keep. So um yeah, you don't always recognize it or see it until you know. So
Yeah.
it happens more than you think.
Yeah.
It
And it's
just
so,
people are more quiet about it.
yeah. Yeah. So real quickly, introduce yourself to everybody this evening.
My name is Leslie Sim Williams. I recently became a certified life coach through Dr. Sims here, which yay. And what I want to do with my coaching, I kind of want to have a unique style where I can help women. I'm I'm working off of that a woman empowering women. So all aspects of it, it can cover a lot of things, whether they need guidance to get out or strategy or
Right.
recovery after. There's just a lot that goes with it. So I always say I see strong women, and I do, because it takes a strong woman
Yeah.
to go through what she's been through. People
Yeah.
kind of see you as weak, and it's kind of the opposite.
How about that? So did you ever, and this is what a question that one of our listeners sent me. Did you
Mhm.
ever think that you would be a survivor of domestic violence?
Not ever. When I was young, a little California little girl, lived in suburbia and just kind of had a regular life. And I was sunshine and rainbows, like I never see a stranger. I just was happy. So I think that a lot. And I've had that conversation with people. I just can't believe that little girl
Wow.
that was so hopeful got here.
Wow.
But I've circled around, and I'm becoming, and I am who that girl used to be.
How about
So
that? How about
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure it's been a journey, hasn't it?
a journey, a journey. I feel like, and people will say like, oh, how did you survive, and how do go through all of that, and you're just who you are, and you look how you look, and no one can really see it. So I don't know. I don't know how I did it actually, but
Right.
I came through and I went through, and it's a lot sometimes. It's a lot to think about. It is. Sometimes it's a lot to think about, but
I can
um,
only imagine. I can only imagine. So you touched on earlier, and with the next question, I'm gonna ask how you met your ex-husband, but you said you touched on a little bit that a lot of times it's hidden in plain sight. You can't just look at somebody at the grocery store and and say, "Whoa, you're going through some type of domestic violence," because a lot of time shame enters the picture because we don't want anybody to know. You know what I'm saying? So touch on that as you introduce. your ex-husband, and how did you guys meet? And I guess you were just busy living the life of a married woman and a mother that, all of that just kind of played into it. But how did you meet your ex-husband?
I actually met him. I lived my hometown where I went to high school was where
Right.
he went to college.
Okay.
And yeah, so he's a football player and I liked athletes. And
Okay.
I didn't particularly like him. I had a girlfriend that, yeah, I had a girlfriend that liked him. And she's like, oh, if you could get me over there and you got it in and da da da, you know how that goes. So I was like, yeah, I'll get you over there. And I was like, him, I didn't see him. I knew of him and I knew him in a roundabout way, but I had never had conversation.
Right.
And so I don't, I don't know, but I got with him and I would say he was never my type. I don't know what that means exactly, but he
Right.
wasn't my type.
Okay.
But what I saw is that he was on the football team and he was going to school and he was working
Right.
2 and 3 jobs and he had a car and he had hustle,
Right. Right.
And that matched my energy
Okay.
because
Okay.
yeah, I was a girl that, single parent with my mom and
Right.
I kind of co-parented with her at a young age. And I worked a job to give my check to her and I
Right.
worked a job for me.
Right.
And so I kind of like I- that's where I was. And it's not the best thing to do. So
Right.
yeah. Anyways,
So
married too young.
what would you say you fell in love with? Was it him or was it what he represented? What, if you're looking back, what did you really fall in love with?
I didn't fall in love.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't I didn't fall in love. I would say that I loved him,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's kind of
That's
how
a
it
new word.
was.
That's a new, I
I,
gotta,
I,
hold on. I gotta jot that down.
what? I know.
That's the first time I heard that, Coach Leslie.
It's maybe not very
Like
nice,
that.
but
So explain that because there are a lot, what I'm noticing? A lot of
mhm.
women are what you just explained. Guys, we're gonna run to a quick break and she's gonna unpack. I like love, Tim. Okay, you kind of threw me a curveball. I like
Okay
hold on a
then.
minute. I'm gonna play this quick commercial and we'll be right back.
Perfect.
If you would like to support the Dr. Sim Show, send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
All right, we're back. So right before break, you said you loved him because I asked a question. What did you fall in love with? He was a football player. He had hustle. He was in college. He had charisma, and you have been working for moms, and working. You
Mhm.
helping moms out. You helping you out, and so here's this awesome, strong, strapping young man, and you say you loved him. Explain that, Coach.
Um, I I did. Like I could have like I appreciated where he came from and that he was trying to do something with his life and he
Right.
wanted to do stuff. So I liked that whole thing.
Okay.
I did. I did. I liked it. I'm not going with anybody but didn't have anything at that time. I was,
Right.
I just thought like if I'm
Okay.
gonna do something, I'm gonna do it big or
Okay.
whatever.
So
So,
was
I
he
mean, later I kind of like I loved him.
okay,
You have to
okay.
love somebody enough,
Of
but
course.
mm,
Well, so so
mm,
so that begs the question, did you feel he loved you? Was it just a matter of convenience for both of you, or was he attracted to you?
no, I think yeah, he was crazy over me, and
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
He was a lot of things, and I feel like he kind of always maybe knew because he was kind of a jealous, possessive kind of a
Oh,
person.
wow. Okay.
And so I figured like he always kind of thought I was going to step away or step out.
That's
And that
okay.
was
I
his way
feel
of holding on to me. You know what I'm saying? But it was counterproductive because it made me then kind of not even like love him,
oh, oh,
which is
okay.
not a good way to go. But there was respect there. Again, he had hustle and he great dad. Like we navigated life and we did a lot of a lot of good things. You know, we have two
Okay.
great kids and stuff. So
Right.
it wasn't all for nothing, but
Right.
to say, "Oh, I'm so in love." Mm-mm.
Oh wow. So okay. So help set up for everybody. Were there any bouts or did you guys argue? Did y'all fuss? Did you see that day coming? Is what I'm asking. Kind of help paint a picture. Well, how did y'all interact? How did y'all get along? How did y'all talk to each other? Help us
Right.
understand.
Okay. Well, we were married 30 years. That's a
Okay. Okay.
surprising thing.
Okay.
We got married. We got married young. I was 22 and he was 24.
Okay.
And within the first 6 months of our marriage, we had started a company, and he had a day job, I had a day job, and it was a cleaning service, commercial cleaning service. So
Okay.
we would work our day jobs and go out and hustle and clean buildings, do these accounts. And so I did that, and we were able, like in the first 2, 3 months of doing that, got me a little BMW. A few months later, bought the house. So it was progressing,
Jay-Z and Beyonce did have nothing on y'all, huh?
right? No, but we did later become a whole thing. So yeah, we married young and did the stuff, and it just became a way of life of navigating. I would say we really probably
Okay.
got lost in the hustle and the grind of building this business,
Right.
which, power couple, in our community, we were known to have this business and,
Okay.
here and there and everywhere running this successful business, married a long time,
Okay.
had a family,
Okay.
it was all kind of like a facade type thing, if you
Okay.
will,
Okay.
because we
Okay.
were this power couple. We were known in the community. We were a family. We had these great kids. So like no one really ever knew, and I didn't complain and I didn't tell anybody. I felt like I got in this,
Right.
and finish where you start and start with
Oh
the
wow.
intention to
So let
finish.
me ask you, that's a great point. So let me ask a twofold question. I
Okay.
have two segments, so I'm taking my time and I
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot. There's a
it's
lot.
a lot. So you got this image now, and I need you to unpack that. How did other couples see y'all? And how did you when you guys were arguing, fuss and fight, how did you kind of smooth that over and not let people kind of know what was going on, and even the boys for that matter? So, what's the
Yeah.
image, and how did you keep that image in front of everybody?
Right. He wasn't outward abusive.
Oh,
He had his little way. People thought he was soft spoken and he was such a good
wow,
husband and such
wow.
a good father, so attentive. You know, he put it out there like that. And so like I just rode with it. So say we're going to a business meeting, we're going to go meet with our partners, or we're
Right,
going to the
right.
accountant or something.
Okay.
We might be da 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 the whole way there. But the
Wow.
minute that car went park and I stepped out, I became
Wow.
I became all about business. And with the kids, they were athletes. They were popular in the community. My youngest son was on the news all the time. We did all this basketball stuff.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we would go to games, and all the parents and students and everybody, they they just thought that we were this perfect family.
Right.
That's what people, if you went to my old community, people would say, wow, it's this power couple, the perfect family. We
Oh
actually had
wow.
people that were haters and envious of our life. And I'm like, oh,
Really?
I would say, you all just don't know. So, but he was sneaky behind the scenes stuff,
Okay.
like with the boys.
Oh wow.
Never. You know how now I hear stories where you have these knock and drags and this whole brutal, just ugly scene in front of the kids.
Right.
He
It was
didn't
none
do
of
that.
that.
It might be when we get at the end of the day, he saw something or didn't like something, he would hold it all day. And
Okay.
then when we got to our room after the kids went to sleep or it got quiet, then he
Oh
would
wow.
tell me about it.
Oh wow.
Or if the kids were at school and we were alone.
So did you ever, in the 30 years prior to
Mhm.
you getting a divorce, in those 30 years, did you ever think about ending the relationship? Did it ever get that bad before the day? Did it ever get bad enough that you say, you know what, I'm done?
Every day, every day. I was leaving every day.
So
In my mind,
answer this for the audience because that's another
uh-huh.
question that I got. And I believe those of us that kind of sit on the sidelines and see
Mhm.
you guys that are survivors,
Mhm.
why do you stay as long as you do?
I stayed because it became this lifestyle. And at what point at what point do I disrupt my children? We live in this home. We have a basketball court. It's the house everybody wants to come to. And my son's traveling with basketball, and my older son, getting engaged and wanting to get married. I'm like, at what point am I going to disrupt their lives and stop this whole thing? And you could ask my kids today, and they don't have any bad feelings about how they were raised or their life or anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So um people just didn't know. People just didn't know, and I didn't tell. Like, and he wasn't a person like every day. He would let life stress or life crisis or
Yes, ma'am.
things that kind of were out of his control.
Wow.
That's when he would be a little, ooh, and I'd be watchful, like, ooh, don't tip him, and that's not a way to live. But to answer your question, stayed I stayed for my boys.
Yeah.
I just stayed for
Yeah.
my boys. I thought, you know what, I can just sacrifice, and I'm not happy with him and this and that. But, I went from the Martha Stewart Christmas to basketball season to spring
Wow.
break. Now it's tournament season, and
Yeah.
oh, it's summer, and I'm planning this party. I'm doing that. I just kind
Yeah.
of went from season to season, event to event.
And the
And
days just they kept piling up, and it was 1 year and 2 years and 3 years and 4 years and five,
yes,
6, 7, 8, 9. Let me
yes.
let me ask you this, Coach Leslie.
Hmm.
Did you enjoy being married?
I believe in the institution of marriage. I definitely
Okay.
think that sharing a life and the whole partnership, it, I just believe in it, and I'm hopeful for people and couples and love
Yeah.
and the whole experience. I hold hope for it.
That's
Um,
good. That is really good.
yeah, because in our life, like, he would wash the cars and maintain the garage and do the yard. And I did the house and the laundry and the kids. And I was room mom, teen mom. There wasn't anything, there wasn't anything that I didn't get to do,
Right.
but he always
Okay.
had an eye on me. And I
Okay,
always
so
felt that
help us
pressure.
understand that because you said he's jealous and all of that, and
Hmm.
he was very
Hmm.
protective over you. Can you think
Hmm.
of anything? And what I want to do for segment two, the second
Hmm.
part of us, I think we're getting into really what happened on that day. But
Right,
uh,
right.
help us understand how would he? How did you know he was jealous? What would he do to show he was possessive and jealous? Help us
He,
understand that.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, there's always this weird thing pops up in it's always a weird thing that pops up on me. We were at my really good girlfriend had cancer, and
Okay.
she became cancer free, and I was just really there for her and the
Okay.
girls,
Okay.
and she was turning 40, so she was having this big party, and her
Okay.
daughter was turning 16, she was turning 40, big party, big party. She likes to put on these big events. So it was this big event, and we were there, and it was there was this guy that was there, and our oldest liked his daughter.
Okay.
And I knew of him and knew his brother and his ex-wife, but I
Right.
had never met him. So
Okay.
he sings, and he got up there and sang happy birthday and did the whole thing. And then when we were all kind of leaving, he's like, well, I've never, had a chance to meet you, da da da. And I was like, yeah, we the kids got a thing going on, and chit-chatting about that.
Okay.
And
No,
so when I
my
shook his
son like
hand,
your daughter. My son like
yeah, yeah, yeah. She was a point guard, he was a point guard, and just the cutest little couple. So they kind
okay.
of had a thing, and they were being bashful that night or whatever. So when we were having conversation and we shook hands, and the weirdest thing, thought that I lingered and held his hand too long.
No, now, no.
Yeah. Just
Really?
see, and I wouldn't have even suspected it. And everybody's bye bye, get in their cars and everything. And
Wow.
first thing we got in the
Wow.
car and started driving off, he got me. He got me with that. I was like, what?
Hold that
So
hold
it
that
would
thought,
be
hold
weird
on.
things like that.
Really, hold that thought. We'll be right back. We want to pick that up in
Okay.
a minute. And we're going to take
Okay.
a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you would
Perfect.
like to support the Dr. Sim Show, send your donations to Cash App $ Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
Hey guys, listen, make sure you mark every Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your calendar so you can watch the Dr. Sims show. We stay high on life. I am so excited about my new show. We have guests, just like the guests we have tonight, Coach Leslie Sim. And I mean, it's an amazing, amazing story that she has. And I interview like-minded people. I interview people that are living on purpose and they are excited about their lives. They have experience and they want to share their story with us. And so you're going to see something like this every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, we stay high on life. So, Coach
Yes, we
Leslie,
do.
so wait a minute now. So he let you have it in the car. What did he say to you?
Oh, that was I trying to get fresh with him, and he could go ahead and go drop me off, and
I'll drop you
just
off right now. I'll drop you off
yeah,
right now.
yeah. Like, who you disrespecting me? That's
Wow.
the things he would say, like disrespecting me. I was
And
just
you were like,
saying,
what are
I
you
was just
talking
having
about?
general, because I'm friendly
Right.
and I wasn't really able. This is where some of the abuse where people didn't really see it. Kind of
Okay.
people maybe thought I was shy
Right.
or I was just thought I was better than, but I had my space.
Right. Understand.
I had my space. Like, I can't walk over here too far or I can't kind of do that. I knew my limits, but on that night it
Right.
caught me off guard because I just was like, I didn't
Wait
see
a
it.
minute.
But I did walk on eggshells. Like I knew my boundaries with his jealousy.
So you said you walked on eggshells. I'm telling you, you're talking to a lot of women tonight. You're resonating with a lot of women tonight. So what you're saying is not necessarily you walking on eggshells because you were scared or anything. You just didn't want him to explode. You didn't want him.
I didn't want the eruption.
You didn't
Right.
want the eruption. Okay.
No, I
Okay.
didn't. And I was busy. I was busy with kids and stuff. And I didn't need to go toe to toe with you and do the whole rumble thing. It was exhausting. And that's the part where I was like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. Like
Again.
yeah. I just kept saying that, and I'm like, oh, well, when this kid graduates from high school and this one's going to junior high, that's going to be my time.
Wow.
And oh, now I can't because now he's playing basketball and he's at college. And okay, well, I'll wait until he gets to a certain age and he's driving the car more independent. And this one's getting ready to get out of college. I kept marking time.
Right.
And like you said, 12 years, 16 years. Time
Wow.
just went by. We got married in 1986.
Okay.
And I would say by 99, 2000, I was just biding my time. Just
Bless
biding
your
my time.
heart. Bless your heart. Okay.
And I
You
left
just- you
in
just marked your time.
2016.
You just marked
Yeah.
your time.
I did. But I stayed busy, And as jealous as he was in things, he wasn't he didn't worry about other things. Like my son traveled with basketball and we would leave mostly every Friday, going somewhere in the car, going
So
here,
what you're
going
saying,
there.
this is ironic. He never tried to stop you from going on these away trips with your sons. He didn't worry
No.
about you.
No. He felt like, and there was coaches and there was a lot of people. I just wasn't disrespectful to my marriage and I just wasn't, that's not where I was.
I
I'm
understand.
still believing in marriage and
How
my
about
vows and
How about
yeah.
that?
So I was married every day. He wasn't married every day. So,
that's another episode.
yes. I know, right?
So, Coach, that's another episode.
I know. So anyways, so in that, I just stayed busy with the kids and life.
Wow.
I stayed real busy with the kids in life,
Wow.
but I was limited, you know. I was limited as to like going out a lot with girlfriends
Okay.
and kind of doing that thing, but I could do whatever I wanted with the kids.
Right.
And I just became this basketball mom. And I would say that basketball and traveling and the whole organization and the family of people that I was with, I wrote this poem thing about basketball and love,
Right.
and I just got lost. I just got lost in that, and
Right.
you know, then again, here it'd be Christmas, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So when y'all were good, you were good. When you and your husband and the boys, when y'all would do family stuff, when you were
hmm
good, y'all were pretty good.
Oh yeah, he didn't he didn't act out in front of the kids.
Okay.
He's a super good. Well, he's not the best dad now because he's that we'll get into that. But
Okay.
he was a good dad, you know. Like the boys, if they said they wanted something or they needed something,
Right.
he'd get it. You know, he always put conditions on stuff like, oh, you
Right.
want that? Well, you know, meet me halfway. Or you know,
Yeah.
when they wanted cars, we could have went to the dealership and bought them brand new cars, but we had a limit.
Right.
And you're going to meet us halfway for the insurance. You're going to pay for your own oil. Like
Yeah.
there was responsibilities came with it, and
Right.
great work ethic. Like he, you know, just a workaholic. So he was a workaholic, and I just, you know,
Wow.
I just ran the business all day, and by 2:30, 3 o'clock, I cut it off.
Yeah.
And I spent the
and
rest of
like
the
I
evening
said,
doing kids.
the days go by. The days go by. You look at your watch. The
hmm
days go by.
hmm
Your boys B and B,
Yeah,
Britt and Brad, your oldest son,
Bryson. Yeah,
my son, they're 5 and they're 7, they're 10, they're
yeah.
15, and they graduate high school. And you look up 10, 15,
Time
20 years go by.
time just went by. Time just went by. And my oldest son, I would say, started
Yeah.
kind of more recognizing things once he was engaged and got married.
Okay.
Yeah, and my ex-husband, you know, he would do stuff. He wasn't completely married every day. And you know, the boys started finding out things. I would tell him, you need to watch what you're doing because your kids are in the same streets and their friends are in the same streets as you, and you're being seen, and they're not
Wow.
appreciating you disrespecting me and our family and who we represent and who
Wow.
we are. So my older son, he started having attitude with his dad, you know, like,
Oh,
excuse me, where are you going? You know, start clocking him kind
wow.
of like, where you going? Where you been? You know,
Wow.
and so that became a thing. And so when I recognized that he was like, you know, understanding stuff, then I confided in him a little bit. You know, I'm like, this is not going to be forever, and at some point,
Which is
I, you
by
know,
that time. That is
yeah,
this is a good
yeah,
stopping point for part one. We're gonna have
okay,
part two with Coach Leslie, and it's a very interesting story. So we're gonna go to another break. I'm gonna let her go, but we're gonna have her. The very next show is gonna be part two, and this is a great segue into she's a survivor. So. Coach
yeah.
Leslie, thank you for being here. And don't go too far because part two is coming up. All right.
We'll be here.
Hey, we'll be right back.
If you would like to support the Dr. Sim Show,
Oh my God.
send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
Hey guys, listen, I hope you enjoyed part one of that interview with Coach Leslie. She didn't know anything and it just snuck up on her one day. But listen, when we get part two, it's going to be off the chain. So y'all don't want to miss it. It'll be next week. All right. And remember, we stay high on life.